Hi.
Hello.
Have you heard of StarskipperGames.com? Because it'd be awkward if you hadn't, because that's what we're doing here. So, yeah, welcome to the first ever anything recording for the Starskipper's Handbook. This is the first time we've recorded a play session. If you exclude the one time we, took a 30-second video in the middle of a game, 3 years ago.
Long time.
But yeah, thank you for joining us. This is Oasis Expeditions. We're going to be exploring a vast and varied world in the fantastical sci-fi fantasy universe that is the universe of Starskipper. I am McKay. Hi. I'm one of the co-founders of Starskipper Games, and I'm going to be running this session as the Commander of Games, or COG, or COG, as we call it. I'm joined today by three fabulous individuals. If you guys want to introduce yourselves by your real name or by whatever you prefer to go by, follow your dreams.
Okay, I'll go first. My name is Alex. I am the lore master and one of the co-founders of Starskipper Games.
I'm Seth. I invited myself.
We pulled him off the street, honestly.
He's close to the street.
I'm Isabel. They can't seem to get rid of me.
That's true. One time we, you know that street we were just talking about where we found Seth? Well, we were there because we were trying to, put Isabel in the back of a car. But I'm just kidding. No, that didn't happen.
They accidentally put her in the back of their own car. That's really their own bad.
See,
Leave her behind the dumpster of a Joann's.
Can we really call it putting her in the back of our car if it was really just someone being nice and opening the door? I don't know. I'm trying to make this weird situation better. So anyway,
we're not criminals, I promise.
So,
for legal reasons, this was a joke.
For legal reasons. So, so what we're going to be doing is we are playing a campaign that is using the Starskipper's Handbook, which, if you haven't heard of it, you should check out our website. That's starskippergames.com. Or you can also check out our Patreon, which I don't expect you to type this in, but it's patreon.com/StarskipperGames.
It'll be in the description.
Yeah, a little bit easier. Starskipper's Handbook is a tabletop RPG system that Alex and I and a couple others, but primarily Alex and I, have been developing for 3 years now. It's gone through a lot of different variations. The first one that we had was originally basically just like a module for an existing tabletop RPG. One of the famous ones, Wink.
You've probably heard of it.
Yeah. But, from there it kind of grew and evolved, and we changed a lot of systems until now it's something very distinct, even if some things do seem, eventually you're going to have overlap between different fantasy sci-fi stuff, because there's only so big you can get. Okay. So, like I said, this is called Oasis Expeditions. The people who are here with me, these wonderful individuals here, have already prepared characters at level 1 using the Starskipper's Handbook beta book rules that we have just released recently. We'll learn more about their characters as we go along. Without going into too much detail, can you guys say your character's name and species, and then we can kind of leave the rest up to mystery?
Sure. So, my character is Truck Rigby. He is what's known as a recurrence. Basically, it is an individual, a Terraportant, who their mind has been put into a robotic body. So they are... Can we call them cyborgs, or...
Technically, yeah.
Technically,
under the definition of what a cyborg is, because they still technically have organic parts, but they're very, very cybernetic.
Very cybernetic.
Almost 100%.
How do you do?
They're more Psy than Borg.
Okay. My character's name is Ash Bark. He's a Merligan. I cheated and went to the website, but you haven't filled in Marilligans yet, so do you want to explain what they are? I just barely got here.
Yeah, sure, no worries. So, a Marilligan is a cat-like species, so imagine a bipedal, mimicking like the jaguar kind of look to them.
Mm-hmm.
They are expert climbers. They have claws for attacking. One of the closest things you can compare them to in other mediums are Tabaxi or Khajiit. Yeah, that's the name.
Except they were more inspired by jaguars. Like, that was their main general focus.
The actual cat themselves, yeah.
Yeah, the cat. We should specify. They're based on the cat, not any other type of object that is also called a jaguar. Right.
Alright, and my character's name is Viola Shard, and she's a Terraportan, which is basically our humans.
Yes. Terraportans are interesting. They originated on a lot of different colony worlds. How they got there is a little bit of a mystery. And they only know that they're the same species because they have a lot of cultural background and similar language stuff. Alright, so with that out of the way, we will now begin the first ever Oasis expedition.
Woo!
Okay, so you all are on the world of Oasis. This is a backwater world, very far away. The system itself that this planet is in is very far away from a lot of inhabited space. There's a big distance, and so not a lot of traffic flows through it. However, in the past 50 years, so this planet has been inhabited for about 100 years, there was an initial colonization rush, and then that kind of slowed down. And about 50 years ago, there was another economic boom, which inspired the growth of existing cities and the expansion into new territories to create other cities. Presently, you are really, presently everyone who has colonized this world has really only set foot in a very fertile area known as the Great Basin. It is a relatively small part of the overall main continent, and that's where basically all the cities and trade are. There is a large boundary of mountains to the east, known as the Mafeng Mountains, which cuts off the basin from the rest of the continent. Now, because there is very little expansion beyond the Mafeng Mountains, a lot of the continent remains unmapped, undiscovered. There are things that people have seen from orbit, and there are pictures and general maps that have been made, but specific information and details about the rest of the world beyond the mountains is a mystery. That's where you come in. There is a group that has been recently founded known as the Cartographers Guild. You are based out of a small town in the east of the Great Basin known as West Basin.
So it's in the east.
Yeah,
it's called West Basin.
It's in the look. When I was making the map, I got my east and my west confused, and I thought, right, this is in the east.
Wait,
So
is it this?
it's facing
no,
the
that's
west.
East Basin in the west. We're in West
Yeah.
Basin in the east.
There is also another town. If you may have noticed, there's also another town in the west called East Basin, and actually, well, the worst part is, so I made this map, the original version, like a while ago, like six months to a year, and then I expanded upon it as I imagined what the world would look like now, like 50 years later. And East Basin was a town. There were originally like 3 towns, maybe 4, I believe. And East Basin was one of the original 3 or 4. And I didn't realize my mistake until several months later when I was looking at the map again. And I realized that in the naming I had confused my east and my west. And I decided to just stick with it because it felt more realistic somehow.
You know what? Mistakes happen in the real world,
Yeah.
so this is realistic.
Yeah, exactly. So West Basin is a very small town. You don't get a lot of trade or traffic. There are a couple individuals who have settled the area, but it's a pretty small town. Most of the trade that you can get is at just the West Basin General Store, and they get a lot of their import from the other towns in the area. To the south, there is a peninsula that has the biggest city on Oasis, which is Bell Point City. Bell Point City is a kind of a small little metropolis. They've expanded a lot, and that's where the majority of trade happens. But beyond Bell Point City, there's also a secondary trade town known as Crossroads, which is a easier stopping off point for people of various different towns. So Crossroads is one road away from West Basin. It's a pretty big distance, but it is the closest technical town. And so that's where a lot of the trade comes from. So if you need to buy anything, I would recommend checking out the West Basin General Store. That being said, just one moment, sorry. Gotta get my maps together.
There's just so much clearer.
Just using the Discord app. Open original.
Yeah.
Okay.
This whole time.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta teach him how to use Discord.
Also, upon double checking my map, I realized that once again I have made a mistake, as I confused my east with my west again. The town you're in is called East Basin. The original town was called West Basin, but it is the wrong way around. So East Basin is in the west, and West Basin is in the east.
This is incredible.
I need
Oh,
a
so we're
drink.
starting in East Basin?
Yes, you're starting
Oh,
at
okay.
East Basin, not West Basin. Sorry.
Thank you.
East Basin, which is at the far west of the Great Basin.
We
So
gotta
we're-
clip that. Anyway,
So, are we starting in the East Basin or the east of the basin?
no, East Basin.
Yes. You were
So
starting
East
in
Basin, not the east of the basin.
Exactly.
Yes.
You were starting in the town East Basin, which is to the west of the basin. Yeah.
This is a great first episode, guys.
We've already broken him.
Yes.
Well,
Um,
actually, I think he broke himself.
All right, that's fine.
I also misspoke about one other thing. I was looking at the wrong map. The closest town to you isn't Crossroads. It's actually Split River, which is a semi-large agricultural community that resides within the Moonlake Forest. But, you know, your trade is still fairly limited. Everything you get is still going to be at the East Basin General Store. So that is all true. So, the three of you are in East Basin. Now, to begin the story. You all, at previous points, have received invitations to join the newly founded Cartographers Guild. The Cartographers Guild is a group of explorers and individuals who are trying to map out the rest of the world, see what else is out there, identify potential dangers. On the world of Oasis, there is an existing security force, shall we say, primarily made up of volunteers, bounty hunters, guard for hire, that sort of thing. They're called the Stalwarts. The Stalwarts primarily reside in Bell Point City, but they do have agents that go to different parts of the world. They don't really have much influence here in East Basin. Most of their power is generally saturated in either Split River or Bell Point City, with like one or two individuals who are stationed at Crossroads. There's also a religious sanctuary to the west up in Raven's Bluff, which is it's an inactive volcano, or it's a dead volcano, I should say. Up at the Orinanun Sanctuary, you'll have one or two individuals who are there for security purposes. And then also there's the Stalwart Port to the west into the Guardian Mountains, which was originally founded as a Stalwart kind of retreat place where they could group up and meet and chat, have fun times. So, in East Basin, The Cartographers Guild is comparatively small. It is new, but they do have a meeting hall, which is very nice. The meeting hall is a 2-room building. It is to the east. Sorry, it is to the west in East Basin. So it's the furthest west building, basically as close to the Mafang Mountains as you can get. 2-room building, like I said. There is one room there that is sort of a general meeting room. There's a table. They have a big old map on the wall. And then there's a secondary room that serves as kind of a general dormitory. So they've got some cots, some bunks. They have like a little closet to the side where you can store your gear. And then they have a single bathroom attached to it. So it's not super big, but, you know, this was all recently created. The only other thing you should note is that the Cartographers Guild was funded and founded by a very rich company/family. The family is the one who owns the company, and they're known as the Burjack Corporation. The Burjacks were a Terraportan family who got into the field of robotics, and they hit it right when the big recurrence boom went up. And so they themselves were some of the first recurrence, some of the first to undergo the procedure, and that family has basically been running this corporation for about 150 years. So they have had a very long lifespan and a lot of influence, and they've made a lot of money through manufacturing. And they branched off into other areas as well, but that was their primary source of income, was patenting certain techniques and pieces that are still used in recurrence today, and also basically providing those parts to companies that produce the recurrence bodies.
Okay.
So they're quite wealthy, and they believe that they believe that Oasis may have a lot of potential, and there may be many riches that could be hidden far to the west. I said it right that time.
Okay.
So that is why they are sponsoring and funding the Cartographers Guild. They made an initial investment. They're paying for your building. You know, they keep the lights on. They're giving you some general funding, but they also do want to see a return investment. So it is of the utmost importance that when you come back, you have something worthwhile, shall we say.
All right. And are we starting in this cartographer's building?
You are. I will let you decide where in the Cartographer's building you are. Like I said, there's a general meeting hall with a map board, and there is also kind of a dormitory room and a little bathroom. So let's start with Alex and then go down the line. Where are you? What are you doing?
Okay. At this point in time, I am entering in through the front doors to talk. Just kind of talk around to people. I'm looking to join up with the Cartographers Guild. So the front doors swing open, and a robotic form that's fairly skeletal steps into the room with only a couple of metal pieces to cover important and structural parts of the body. On him there's only 3 things. One is a long poncho that rests over his shoulders, kind of covers him down to his kneecaps. And the second is a really, really worn and old hat that he has on his head, and kind of covers up he keeps his head down so it covers his eyes. And on his back is a rifle with an inscription on the side that just says Moses. And he steps inside and kind of walks up to the front counter. Yeah, I'm looking to join. What can I do to do that?
Okay. Behind the counter, it's kind of like a little intro desk thing, like pretty close to the front door. You have a secretary, shall we say, kind of a general overseer, the one who handles most of the paperwork. his name is Cletus. He's an old Terraportan, long red beard, braided red hair, a little bit overweight, and he's got like a cane next to him. He's got a couple like spots on his face, and you can see that he's got pretty light armor. Like he's not really ready to rush out there and take down a giant invading horde, but if like something were to happen, he'd be able to take a couple hits, couple shots.
Some Kevlar, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of protective stuff. You also see that he does have a pistol, just kind of on his left hip, but it's in its holster. And he kind of looks up at you, squints. He's a little bit groggy. You're able to detect very faintly. There's a small trace of alcohol on his breath, and he kind of looks up at you and goes, "Wait. Yeah, you're wanting to join the Cartographers Guild, are you? Do you think you've got what it takes to explore the vast wilderness? I've seen puppies that were tougher than you."
Excuse me. Well, I doubt that. Well, I just want to join. I'm looking to join up. Are you drunk?
I can neither confirm nor deny
Acting a little
the potentiality of
All right, can I talk to someone who's not
the validity
this drunk?
of...
That
Well, that would be a good question. Are either of you two here? Okay, so you're both already here. Awesome. Because we were doing it in order, let's do Seth. So he's gonna kind of turn. Well, where are you in the? In the
I'm taking a nap in the dormitory.
Okay.
Well, not really a nap. I'm sleeping in. It's like noon or something like that, and I'm still in bed.
All right.
Out cold. No.
Okay, so he, Cletus kind of turns and yells over his shoulder, "Ash!
Out cold.
Ash, you've got... We were up too late last night."
Well, I'm gonna assume you were up late drinking.
You got spunk, kid, I'll give you that. Viola!
Not quite sure what spunk means.
Viola! Yeah, what are you doing?
So there's a young woman standing over by the map board, just taking notes in her book. I am very engrossed in what I'm doing, and I might hear him if he calls one more time.
Viola! Viola!
What?
Can you please tell this gentleman that this is no place for weakness? I assume he's a gentleman.
I mean,
guy looking at
I
himself
can't
in
make
the
any
mirror.
assumptions about the situation here. I only just observed it, and you're still very drunk.
I'm thinking this guy should probably not be here and sitting on this desk here.
I didn't expect any more visitors, but you're just in time. Have you see the...
As he
Kinda-
starts to do that, I actually turn away from him and turn to Viola, and I just go, "Can I work here? I can do his job. Can do that."
I don't have that authority. I've been here like 2
I
days.
just hop behind the desk and start doing it. This guy looks to be a little... Why don't you go to bed, sir? I can take care of this job. I'll tell you what, you
Cletus,
can take care of my information later. I'll start recording my hours.
Cletus reaches under the desk and he pulls out what looks like a little vial of something, and he pops the cork off and he sips it, and you notice his face gets very visibly red for a second, And then he, like, it kind of breathes in and out as if it was really spicy. And then he puts it back under and he goes, "All right. That'll give me clarity for about 2 minutes. What's your name? Why are you here?" He pulls out a big old book and a pen.
As he does that, I go back to looking at the map and writing my journal.
Right.
So, right. My name's Truck Rigby.
Truck Rigby.
Truck Rigby, sir.
Right. And you're wanting to join the Explorers Guild, are you? I mean, Cartographers Guild.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Trying to do as much good as I can. Used to work for the Stalwarts, but, they didn't send me on any big missions or none.
Well, I hope you'll be able to get a little more adventure out of this one than they were able to give you. I'll tell you this. Normally, there's an entry fee of 15 bolts. But, as it would happen, the Burjack Foundation is offering to waive your fee for you, so long as you're willing to commit to at least one semi-immediate expedition.
I'm down with that. I'm good, because I'm going to be real with you, sir. I don't have a bolt to my name.
Right then. He kind of fills out some paper and he tears something off and he hands it to you and he gives you a pen. Sign here.
I take my finger and kind of flip the cap and there's a pen underneath. And I just kind of scratch my name down.
Oh!
I flip it.
He's very impressed. Whoa. He takes the paper back and he tapes it back into the book. And then he turns the book around, looks at it, folds it, closes it. He puts it back under the counter and he goes, "Right then. Well, I'll say this. Your first expedition isn't going to be an easy one. We're sending you into the Mofang Forest, just up to the very edge of the mountains. There's a strange item that we've noted in the area. It's been emitting some kind of a otherworldly power, and we think that you might be the perfect group of fools. I mean, brave heroes to go after it."
I heard that.
I didn't say anything. And you notice that his eyes are starting to glaze over. "Well, my 2 minutes are up."
Well, at least I got that paperwork filled out.
Alright. If you go and over to the board.
I'm already making my way just towards her because seems like the only sane person around.
Alright. I'll go get Ash and take his place.
Alright, so you must know where I'm going off to then and what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah? Was that you?
I mean, not really. This is literally my only second day here. I've been waiting to get sent out for a while now.
As Cletus is walking into the dorms, he kind of turns his head, nearly runs into the door frame, and kind of stumbles, and he goes, "There's a paper with information next to the board." And he walks over. Ash, I don't know if you would actually feel it, but there is big, rough hands that are shaking you.
It has no effect.
Alright. Well. Okay then. So that is going to be our part 1. We will continue this in part 2. Thank you for joining us.
Taking a break. Thank
And
you.
We'll see if he actually wakes up.